So today I'd like to talk to you about the insulin pump that I'm trialling from Medtronic, the MiniMed 640G. Now, for those of you with type 1 diabetes who perhaps aren't on insulin pumps or you're still on injections and what have you, one of the amazing things that you can do with an insulin pump, and that's across the board, not just this one, is that your background insulin goes through every couple of minutes, but you can set hour by hour different types of insulin rates. So for example, overnight when I've been training, I only have half a unit of insulin or so going into my system, whereas I find in the morning I need a lot more insulin to help me out with kind of getting up and getting those blood sugars right before I wake. Now, this is really handy during sport, this kind of this idea that you can put a temporary basal on, because it means that you can take the basal, what it is, so say you've got 1 unit of insulin normally going through that hour, you can reduce that basal for a period of time that you choose and for a certain percentage. So for example, if I know I'm going to have a really vigorous session in the gym or on the track, beforehand or during the exercise, I can also reduce my insulin. So rather than having to wait until you start to kind of go low during your sport, you can plan ahead and start kind of tapering down the insulin so that your blood sugars may go a little bit higher, but it means that you're in a safe kind of realm for when you're exercising. So this is something that I've given a go this past week with the MiniMed 640G. It's really easy to do because on the home screen of the pump, on the right hand side, you've got basal option. So it's something that you can go to quite quickly because you don't always know when you're going to be exercising. You might be going for a walk, you need to pop out to the shop, you might not be able to plan ahead to reduce your basal. So if you're about to do kind of like spontaneous activity, it's really easy to find on the menu. And then you kind of reduce it to whatever you feel is appropriate. You can always ask the diabetes nurse to help you with that as well if you're not sure how much to reduce your basal by. But I found it really helpful because I'm starting to get this cumulative effect now because I'm doing 6 days of training a week. I'm finding that I'm really having to focus on how my glucose levels are going because I need to start kind of tailoring back my insulin regime, because if I notice, for example, that before training I'm always having to put a temporary basal on and it's a big one, then maybe I need to start thinking about what that background insulin is doing. But as I say, if you don't feel confident about that, because everybody's diabetes is different, then I know your diabetes nurse will be there to help you out. If you'd like to find out more about my experiences with temporary basals in sport, please check out my blog. You can check out the pictures of us training on Instagram and also on Twitter. Thanks.